Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We Believe Digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, We Believe Digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. And while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense Jackson. I am your host, Keon Perry, aka KP.
I need those other two welcomes, man. We need all three of our welcomes, KP. You can't be robbing us. I know it's been a long week, y'all. It's been a long week for the young man, and I may be used to these long weeks, but we're gonna restart it. We're gonna get all three of our welcomes out the young man.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense Jackson.
There we go. There we go. That's the boost. That's what this combination is for. You know, sometimes he needs my boost, sometimes I need his boost, but that's what that combination is for. Take him in. Come on, take him in. Yes, sir.
You gotta get checked, man, every once in a while, man.
In good ways. Just check for energy, man. That's it. That's it. We need each other. This is the way the society should work.
Yeah, it's really how it should work. You know, not to throw no shade in there, but wink, wink.
yeah. No,
welcome to Make It Make Sense Jackson.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense.
I am your host, KP, aka the young man, aka Mr. Jackson.
Young Mr. Jackson.
All those good things, you know, them things of that nature, along with my co-host
Tariq Abdul Tawab, and I'm back to AKA Mr. Walkaway, turn and walk off, Mr. Tata, however you call it. I'll embrace that name today. We had to do another spinoff last night, unfortunately. But yeah, welcome back. Welcome back to day 4 of Make It Make Sense Jackson. We've probably got a lot of you all that are new. Welcome, if this is your first time, to the fastest growing. We probably need to remove the fastest growing at this point. The fastest grown podcast / radio show, tick until Monday. We'll see if we continue. But no, the fastest growing show in Jackson, Mississippi, and in Mississippi. We come to you 5 days a week, and we'll continue coming to you 5 days a week, no matter what. Thankfully, Make It Make Sense Jackson, we do have a platform, and we also have partners, and We Believe Digital is one of them, just like 90.1 is one. A lot of you all were on the show yesterday live at 90.1 with us. And you know, one thing that we started, those of you that are new, we started this show April of during the election, actually smack during the election, April of 2025. And at that time, you know, our commitment to the people of Jackson was that we will give you, you know, no Hollywood, as we called it, no spin, where, you know, we talk about gossip or people's personal habits or their romantic tryst. I know I was going to say that wrong. But instead, we would just give you facts. Now, a lot of people don't like the way we deliver those facts, but nonetheless, what we give you are facts. And the first analogy we used to use was what? We used to say that Jackson has heartburn. And when we don't know what we've been ingesting through contracts, through leaders, we just haven't been aware of what we've been ingesting. And so we took a trail, the young man and I started off. Shout out Mr. Wilson, our producer. We all started out on a journey of uncovering, going all the way back to the first Black council folks here in Jackson back in '85, and uncovering how we came from freedom to being right back, and some would say in a worse position here in Jackson, Mississippi than we started in. And that's been the background of the show, with the ultimate goal of being able to move forward, putting the right ingredients in our body as a city so that we no longer get the same result. Yeah. So
you talk about the Harvey Johnsons, the Charles Tisdales, the John Horn.
Yes. Yeah. Names that have been around for 30 40 years, not names that you may have just started seeing them in local politics, like Mayor Horn, then Senator Horn, who came in '93. But these are all Henry Kursky, who was a civil rights legend when you look at it now, and you look at the fact that we have power on the city council here in Jackson, Mississippi, a model that Kursky helped create. and the fact that Benny Thompson, Espy, those seats that they sat in were seats that were created in large part by the efforts put forth by Henry Kursky. Harvey Johnson, who actually became the first black mayor in spite of Henry Kursky running to be the first black mayor and having those accolades with him. All these things kind of play into where we landed today. Dale Danks and the Blue Ribbon Committee, right? These are things, if you go down our webpage and go look at Two Cities, One Jackson, you'll see the historical the context of how we got here. And, you know, I think it's very important that we understand our past and, you know, to understand why we speak a certain way, right? And why we, how would people say it? Why we go so hard, as people like to put it. And one of the things that you'll understand is yesterday, if you were watching the actual show, our podcast and our live radio show at 90.1, you know, you saw that one of the things we've talked about here are that you often don't see what's happening in front of you. You only see what's happening in the background. And therefore, someone you think is doing something good for you is really hurting a message of truth. And yesterday at the radio station, the station owner, one of the station owners approached us, very bothered and asked us a question. And the question is all we're addressing today. Again, we stick to facts, right? No matter whether drama gets involved, we're always going to land back on facts. And the question that she had for us, Ms. Evers had for us, was, why are you all so hard on John Horhn? Now, obviously, Ms. Evers was asking that question as the radio owner, so that had obviously some serious concerns, right? But the bigger thing is the question, right? Now, the first problem, obviously, is for a year and a half, we've outlined the policies and choices of John Horhn, the city council at that time, that we've had issues with and things we've agreed with. That's what I would hope you would do as an invigorated, engaged community, right? You look at what your leaders do and you say, I either like that or I didn't like that. That either is what we voted for, it's not, right? So first, the phrase, and this is what we're hearing from a lot. This is the second. First was LaShia Brown Thomas. It was a much stronger whistleblow, right? Of violence that didn't exist. But now we're hearing this where you're acting as if you don't know the political decisions that have been made. Like we haven't been outlined. What do they call it? It's called like intentional negligence, gross negligence, but willful negligence. Like in order to have not heard the reasons that we and 60% of the city are not happy with the moves being made by Mayor Horhn and his administration, if not more. Those have been laid out in article after article after show on that radio station, 90.1. So that's the biggest disconnect. And we often speak about it. That's where the disconnect and the problems usually come from.
And they like to talk about the previous administration about certain, things in that nature, but it's like, who is doing more damage to the city based off what y'all didn't like about the previous mayor versus what's going on now? Who did more damage? You have
to look at where you're sitting at. You're finding yourself shifted from I don't like the food you're serving tonight to now you don't eat. Let's talk to contractors. Black contractors here in Jackson. You're shifting from the ones with the biggest bellies are not getting fed to nobody's getting fed. You look at Gabriel Prado and you look at Gibbs, which one is getting a better portion of that food? So it's no longer now, it's not selective anymore. No one's getting fed to that level yet. Let mommy and daddy eat is what Horhn is telling us. That mommy and daddy is the state and those interests. Then you all will eat. And that's those in Jackson that have the ability to be at that table. And then what did his chief of staff tell us? West Jackson and South Jackson will get to you. Chair Wilson spoke the thought that he knew we all were thinking and no one said out of nowhere during an interview. West Jackson and South Jackson, we haven't forgotten you. That's what he said. That's what I tell my daughter when I knew I told her 4 times I was going to do something and I forgot 4 times. Oh, I haven't forgotten you, and I'm going to try to do it the 5th time now. But you certainly forgot them. It's clear with what's happening in the city that they've been forgotten for now. And what's happening, unfortunately, what we see is that what you're doing is you're trying to slide in this data center money so then you can start doing for the city with dirty money, with blood money. That's what it will be at that point. Data centers will be blood money. So what you did was you asked us the question, Ms. Evers, and we'll answer it. I mean, because again, we don't act off of emotion. We emotionally state facts at times. But why are we so hard? Why are we holding our mayor accountable? So we'll go through it with some job aids, so to say, right? And job aids are for those of you that may be new and haven't walked with us and have not lived in Jackson and felt the effects. Watch downtown Jackson Partners flourish. Watch parts of North Jackson flourish. Watch the roads get paved into Flowood. Watch the roads get paved into Ridgeland. Watch cooperations happen at the floors east that make that area much more beautiful as it starts to gate it off to the rest of the city. Those of us that have experienced kind of know what someone says when they say they're not happy with those decisions. But for those of you that didn't, you're going to have to take a trail back in time with us. And it starts with something as simple as the daiquiri bar, right? And when we're ready, we're going to see the first clip come on screen. But let's talk about it. Something as simple as the daiquiri bar, right? They were shut down, right? Kane Diddle was a landowner, the landlord, and they were shut down because not shut down, and the lease was closed on, and they went ahead, right? So you're looking at right now when you see on the screen, and some of these you're going to have to pull up yourself, but the first one you're going to see is measuring the evolution of downtown Jackson Partners. And here is where, and this is the funny thing, I don't even need to look at it. Here is where you see, I believe that was the Jackson Free Press. Here's where they discussed Charles Tisdale, Stephanie Parker Weaver from SCLC, she was an executive secretary, known as Sister Hurricane, and Kane Diddle. Kane Diddle at that time was a city councilman. And at that time, Downtown Jackson Partners was called CCI. And Kane Diddle and Downtown Jackson Partners were accused of stealing money by taking it from the city of Jackson and funneling it into Downtown Jackson Partners. So the first heads up is understanding how were they able to do this? How was this business model set up in a way that allowed a city that was predominantly Black to have all of its funds or a large portion of its funds siphoned into a private entity such as Downtown Jackson Partners? Well, that happened because of something called the Business Improvement District. And that's legislation that it talks about. In this article, you can see the title, so you got to pull up these things and you got to start reading about it. If you don't know about it, a lot of our folks here know about it. But 1996. Now, John Horn became a senator in 1993. Why are you all so hard on John Horn? Because he's so hard on Jackson. I'm going to give you the answer before we keep going. Only reason you should be hard on a political leader is if they are hard on the people. Unlike his counterpart, rest in peace, Big Chokwe Lumumba, who said, if you take care of the people or never betray the people won't betray you. But when you ask, why am I so hard on John Horn? It's because unlike Chokwe Lumumba, rest in peace, John Horn is hard on the people, calls them fickle and uneducated. And therefore, that's why we hold him accountable for that. And if that looks like we're being hard on him, bravo, very good. Because you should be hard on somebody that takes the trails that we're going to take you down in terms of affecting Black people in this state and in this city. So 1996, the federal government says, we do not want a business improvement district in Mississippi because your voting record was horrendous. You were at 7% of your state's Black population was voting once they had the right to vote. And we know that was through the terror that you and white supremacists, or you allow white supremacists to engage on the people of Mississippi, right? So they didn't like that. You're going to have to get somebody that's believable, a Black person, preferably a Democrat. And guess who was available? John Horn. In this article, it would tell you that John Horn signed the 1996 Business Improvement District legislation that opened the door for Kane Diddle and for Downtown Jackson Partners to dominate from that point, 1996, when you had your first Black mayor coming into office now. Mind you, right? Harvey Johnson came in 96. You had 3 Black city council members in 85. And it was at this point that the betrayal began, right? And you had the Business Improvement District legislation, you see it right there, that John Horn co-authored. Now, this is why you have his friends that jump on, and it's only his friends now because the rest of the city is feeling it so much, that jump on and say, well, why are you so hard on John Horn? At that time, do you realize that, look at this article, that the NAACP was against this Business Improvement District, that John tried to sell Farris Street and say, everybody get in on it. And I saw a brother jump on one of our posts and say, well, 70% of the community was for that. You're talking about the 70% of the white folks that owned the majority of downtown? Of course they were for it. The Business Improvement District allowed them to keep the funds and to not allow anyone else to come into that 65-block radius. So the SCLC was against it. The full Black community, for the most part, if they weren't looking to take business outside of Jackson, was against it. But John Horn was for it. Why are you so hard on John? That's the start, and we're just at the beginning. John complained about Black business leaders not including all of Farris Street. He said, if they had just included it, we could have all come up. Now look around downtown and you tell me what black interests have ownership downtown. I'll wait. Outside of John's group, Jackson Rising, who even has real estate downtown? I'll wait. So had all of the black owners on Farish Street listened to John, then none of the Farish Street shops, even the historic black district, would still even be there. Yes, it needs to be developed. Yes, it needs to be built up. But if it was up to Mr. Horn, it would not even be under black ownership right now. It would be under the ownership of Downtown Jackson Partners. So this is where we're going to start. You're going to have to do that homework yourself. We're not going to sit on one thing that Mr. Horn has done. But when you ask the question, Miss Evers, why are you all so hard on John Horn? Let's start here. Because people that respected the greats of this, and happy birthday, Meg Evers. Let's pause and let's give that up. I know we posted and we talk about it, but let's pause and let's give a resounding happy heavenly birthday to Meg Evers, and make sure that you know that on this platform, Medgar Evers is somebody that we hold in high regard, and that we look at a lot of the work we're doing as a continuum, just like our brothers and sisters that were fighting here 20, 30 years ago when they had a convention where they voted together to back Henry Kursky, and we saw Harvey Johnson violate that, right? Those same brothers and sisters that came before us, those are the ones that we applaud. And so happy heavenly birthday, Medgar, Brother Evers. But getting back to it, this is the first step that you took. And on Medgar Evers' birthday is the perfect day to answer why are we so hard on John Horn? Because he's so hard on the people. Yep. So that's the first thing that happened. And what you want to ask yourself is this simple question: who has benefited most from the business improvement districts over the last 30 years? And I'll tell you who, thanks to Mayor, then Senator John Horn. You hadn't had a black Democrat co-authoring that bill, there's a great chance it would not have gone through. Ask yourself, Fondren, Belhaven, and downtown, what population has benefited the most in those areas? And those are the populations that John Horn helped when he signed on. Let's keep moving. Anything you want to add on to that business improvement district?
What you mean, as in what? Like,
just thoughts. We did the 2 cities, 1 Jackson. Anything else about that business improvement district? Because they asked, why are we so hard on Mayor Horn, Senator Horn, John Horn? As it refers to the business improvement district, I mean, we saw Kane Ditto come back. Again, Kane Ditto is the one that built up CCI and now sits on the board of Downtown Jackson Partners and was the one set to benefit when John Horn co-authored the bill in the first place. Okay?
I mean, it's plenty of things. I mean, it just...
And we got a lot more.
So about the Walthall Lofts. You want to talk about the JSU students being kicked out of their
all of these symptoms. Yes. Yeah. And what we're talking about is the grip that the Downtown Jackson Partners got when they said that now, if you want to develop in this 65 block radius, you have to do it through us, right? We're a mob almost, right? Come check with me and I'll tell you what you can do. So therefore, we saw white businesses begin to lock down these areas, and folks like Babanasi come and buy up land. And you saw black businesses just continuously be pushed out until Farish Street was just an afterthought. And then to add insult to injury, and then we're going to move on to the next slide. To add insult to injury, we saw Farish Street with the likes of David Watkins, who got arrested and charged for stealing from the city. We saw Farish Street get put on hold because they thought going into business with folks like him would help us big it up. He was in business with folks like Joe Gibbs. I always say Joe Gibbs.
Justice.
Yeah, his father is Joe, right?
Joe, yeah. Not Robert Gibbs.
Robert Gibbs, thank you. That's the coach from the whatchamacallit. But yeah, so he and Robert Gibbs they had Farish Street, not among others, tied up in litigation. And this is one of the things we say when we say you say things that can't happen. Why did the previous administrations not get Farish Street going? Well, folks had it tied up in litigation and knew that. But David Watkins, who got charged for Retro Metro, now his son then came back into the mix. This is John Horn. Why are you so hard on John Horn? Because all the thieves and the thieves' families come back when you're in office. All of the people that do Jackson dirty, they seem to shine when you're in office. That was a great question, Ms. Evers. And I didn't think people knew that if you're dealing with Make It Make Sense, we're going to answer that question. So that's the first step, right? Now, let's look at the next step. Let's look at why we would hold John so accountable for things that have happened in this city. The next thing was the 1% sales tax, as we referenced. His old nemesis, John Horn, which I think part of the reason he ran so much was just because he was mad he lost. He ran 4 times. Who puts that much money behind running 4 different times? And you're a senator. Who's fiending to get from the senatorial level down to the mayoral level.
That's a downgrade.
Realize that. Started running, I think, in 2014 or 2011. That's just something for you all to think about when you ask, why are you so hard on John Horhn, right? Which we're holding him accountable. So we're going to go over. So now the Sales Tax Commission Authority, right? So Jackson, under the late Mayor Chokwe Lumumba, Jackson agrees to put a tax on itself, right? We'll take this tax that can get us hundreds of millions of dollars over decades, and we'll use this to build up our streets and our infrastructure. Wonderful idea. And the city overwhelmingly voted for it. Amazing point of camaraderie in this city. I wasn't there experiencing it, but I know folks that were. And if you were, you fully understand what I mean when I say folks were coming together over let's build ourselves up. You want to talk about self-sufficiency. But Negroes don't know the difference between a necktie and a noose, right? And you had someone there that was pushing, and then in came that noose.
There was another proposition he put on the table. He was like, we get 10% of everything. I forgot what it was. We get 10%. The black community gets 10% of something. I forgot.
There was but I think there was 10% of the contracts.
Contracts.
Yeah, 10% of the contracts. And that was the point I made when I say the black contractors contacting us, which have been plentiful. Can you do a story? Can you reach out? And we do a story, all right. We'll do a story on how one of the main reasons they wanted the previous administration gone was because there was too much racism, right? Yeah. What the state considered racism was them demanding that 10% of contracts go to minority owners and things of that nature. And standing on that they created that, that's something that's been around. But you look at when John Horhn went to the airport, and the airport trial, his response to why the state, that's like asking why a rapist raped somebody. And you say probably because of the dress they were wearing. These are the exact same scenarios this man does. White Citizens Council, the Klan, Reconstruction, why would they have bled Jackson dry after the majority of his residents, the white residents, were forced to leave because of are you serious? And John's answer was, because Chokwe, the mayor, put too many black people on the staff.
Who said that?
John said that's just what the mayor said. In essence, he said, I don't think that it was the systemic racism. I think it was that the former mayor put too many black people on the staff. This is what he said. I don't care how you phrase it, how he tried to phrase it. That's what he said. No, the problem is you have a racist state government that did not want to support a city that was led by black people. So before the woman ever came in office, this was made clear with Harvey Johnson. I mean, what are you talking about? And this is when you say, why do we hold John Horhn accountable? Why wouldn't we hold him accountable? So let's keep moving. We're early on. He's done a lot more. So now we had the sales tax commission, the 1% tax commission. So now I'm sorry. That's why I'm trying to back up. There was no commission. There was just Jackson set to get hundreds of millions of dollars, over $100 million over 20, 30 years, millions of dollars per year that they were going to use to fix up their streets. And we should have known that it was a bit of a setup when the state had to vote to let Jackson do it, right? But nonetheless, and I'm starting because you keep trusting in an evil, and evil keeps being evil, right? Nonetheless, the tax was passed. It makes me think of this water. This billion that we got for the water almost, right? Same type of thing. The state lets us pass a tax on ourselves that has garnered almost $150 million since its inception. And as soon as they let us get it, these streets would look beautiful right now. It costs $1 million, they say, around there to really pave a mile worth of a street, right? Mm-hmm. To really pave it. $150 million added on to what's already coming in. First off, take away a lot of the lawsuits that the city had to pay out because of those potholes. Had the streets been getting fixed with that 1% sales tax, then you would not have had a lot of those problems to start with. The city would have been more feasible. People would have been able to come in more.
Let alone the water also. I mean, that money was actually getting spent on what it was for.
That's right. That parallel is exactly what you're saying. If that money was spent on what it's for. But what happened with it? So we started with a city. Remember, 1985, you have 3 black city council members. Now it's 1996. You're poised to have a strong black city, a even number of black city council members, or at least a 3 or 4, maybe a majority, and a black mayor. In Mississippi, you're set to make a comeback that's never been made before. And the first setup was Henry Kursky running, Harvey Johnson agreeing to run against him, splitting the vote. Kane Ditto won, and it was during that mayorship when Kane Ditto dug in with CCI. that was during that time when Charles Tisdale sued Downtown Jackson Partners and Kane Ditto, John's buddy. Why are you all so hard on John? Are you serious? So someone can come and slap your child, molest your family, and then you see someone else walking with them every day, and you're not going to be hard on them and say, why are you walking with these people? The very people breaking Jackson's back are the ones that John himself has bought in. And when folks ask us questions like, why are you so hard on him, just makes us think, are you benefiting? It's the only thing we can think, because it's clear why we're hard on John. Again, John's hard on Jackson. So John helps introduce the idea, has to be submitted, helps introduce the idea of a commission authority over the 1% sales tax. And you know what he told Jackson? You should be happy to let you tax yourself. Oh, y'all remember. This is a good squad here. Brother Socrates has a good business, strong business audience here. And those of you all that jumped on, you remember. You should be happy they let you tax yourself, is what John told you as a senator. When you got mad that he was introducing a commission that was full of state players and white establishment players that were now going to have control over the 1% sales tax. And he said you should be happy that you even got to put a tax on yourself, and then proceeded to help move the power into that state commission who took the majority of that money to put it where they wanted, or they're still sitting on it right now. Jackson may have seen 20 million. Yeah, we've gotten by numbers, because they hide as much as they can. By numbers, we've gotten about 160 million, 140 is a low bar number. It was 16 million that we collected. Not we collected, I'm sorry. 16 million that the state collected in 2025, 2026. Look at our roads. That means that should be 16 miles of pure, beautiful road in west, south, north, everywhere. But you're not seeing that. Instead, you see the road to Flowood getting paved in, because John Horn helped anchor that sales tax commission authority. And don't ever be the fool to say, well, he didn't do it by himself. Listen, you come and kick my door down with 7 other people and hold my daughter down and hold my wife down. I damn sure ain't going to say, well, you know what? If them other 5 people weren't there, you couldn't have done it. Ta-ta, have a good day. But try to break every bone in your body if you do that. And proverbially speaking, I knew I was going to mess that up. We've got to do the same thing here politically. This man helped with this. Would the Republicans have got it done without him? Why do we care? Why were you there? And why in the name of God, every time we try to do something, you pop up and you help take it away? And you're going to notice he did the same thing with the Water Authority. Why are you so hard on John Horn? Why is he so hard on the people? And if you're watching us, when you get off this show, you can either lie to yourself or you're going to be asking the same question. Not why are we so hard on John Horn, but why in the name of God is John Horn so hard on the people? You saw Trey Lamar using the 1% tax money to pave over Eastover, and there was a big uproar. Go look at what it's been used for up until now. We'll leave it there. We'll go look at it, but this is the article that you've got to look at. So the reason we leave that up there is so that you can see some of that. So you had Jackson Mayor Harvey Jackson. This is what we say, like Brian Grizzell. Well, Brian, what type of games are being played? How's it going down, Grizzell, right? And this is serious, because you need to understand when your leaders are playing games with you. This is when Harvey played the old two-step, where he went against Henry Kursky in the Black Convention that Shamsuddin incorrectly invited white folks into after it was agreed upon them they would not be allowed, and it's in the newspaper, Northside Sun. So then Harvey Johnson, who agreed, and I spoke to the people, agreed that they would all back Henry Kursky. At the last minute decides he's going to run anyways. That's why Downtown Jackson Partners is strong in part now, because that vote was split, and we don't know whether Kursky would have won or not. But once that vote split between Kursky and Harvey Johnson, then guess who won? Kane Ditto. Guess who got locked in? Downtown Jackson Partners. Guess who was the first Black mayor? Harvey Johnson. There's a payoff for everything. But when you ask why are we bothered, this is why we're bothered. So at the end of that, Johnson complained about that, the 1% sales tax. I say that to say Harvey did complain about that. And this is why I say dancing with the devil, that once you dance with the devil, you can't get out of that two-step now. So we were supposed to back Kursky. Now, once Harvey, you went and danced with the devil and decided to split against everyone else who you told him. Credell said he wasn't going to run. He didn't run. But once you did that dance, then they spun around and took that 1% sales tax. And you were like, hey, I didn't like that. Harvey didn't like it, but it was too late. You'd already danced with them. And the senator added that the commission did not. This is John Horn. Remember the Water Authority. And this is what's going to get you guys. Did they cut the line? This is what's going to get you guys, right? The same things he said back during that 1% sales commission is the same thing he said with the Water Authority before we lost all control. So Horn told the audience that the legislators gave the city a rare honor. But this is when it was being set up. This is $140 million ago. Why are you so hard on Horn? He sat in front of you all and said, legislators gave you, Jackson, a rare honor by ceding taxation power, knowing he was taking it right back. By ceding taxation power to the city and allowing a local referendum vote on the tax increase in the first place. You all are fickle and uneducated.
He said,
am I right or wrong? He said that basically Jackson voted under late Mayor Shokri Lumumba to place a tax on themselves, which they did have to get the state's permission to do. Yes, by law, they had to, and the state gave them authority. So when they complained about the commission, where they now put a state-controlled commission over that 1%, John, Miss Evers, Mr. Why are you so hard on Horn, told the audience, don't worry about the commission going over. You should be happy the state let you tax yourself. So basically, John told, what's the man's name, man? Give me the again. What's the man from TV's name? Maybe I don't need to say it. The guy from Fleece Johnson, right? John basically Fleece Johnsoned you all. He basically says, you should be happy the state's letting you tax yourself, and then we take the money. Because this was the commission being introduced. The senator added, this is when he told us about the Water Authority. Remember what he told us at the beginning? We'll hold the majority of the seats on the water. This man has been tricking people in Mississippi with the same skin color as us for a long time. Why are you all so bothered with John? He told people then, now we see where the tax, we have not seen $20 million of that 20-something years later. This is what he said then. The Senator Horn added that the commission did not hold all the cards in dictating the look of the plan because he believed, this Negro's been believing, people are his friends, he's been believing to our detriment for a long time. He believed the city council still gets to approve the master plan before infrastructure repairs move forward. It doesn't matter what we get to approve if only you get to suggest it, commission. What type of games are being played? Why are we bothered with John Horn? Why are we holding him accountable? Why are we so hard on John Horn? Because John Horn is hard on the people. And on the second half of the break, we're going to tell you what he did after he came from taking our 1% sales tax over to the Republicans. See you in a minute. Man is amazing.
Great day to be working with the We Believe Digital Network. Oh, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I wasn't expecting you to be here yet, but since you're here, hey, welcome to the We Believe Digital Network, where we make your dreams come true. We have a podcast station and a radio station that I'm about to show you. Come on inside. Okay, so now that you're inside, let me take you into the room where we make all the magic happen, right here in the We Believe Digital podcast and radio station studio itself. All right, then, y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcast and engineering happens when we make all the magic happen. I am your engineer, head engineer, JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now at the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio sessions. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Let us know if you want it. And reach out to your team and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at webelieveplatforms@gmail.com. Hey, feel like your voice needs to be heard? Ever wanted to be on your own podcast or even be a part of one? Guess what? You now can right here at the We Believe Digital Network, but we'll make it happen. You can catch us at this email, at this location, and this phone number.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Welcome back. I didn't have my three welcomes ready. To make it make sense, Jackson, I'm your host, your honored host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, along with my esteemed co-host,
Keanu Perry,
a.k.a. KP, a.k.a. Young Mr. Jackson, to distinguish between these clear and prevalent grays you see busting through here. But welcome back to the second half of the show. We left off answering a question that we were asked on our radio show on our live yesterday. A lot of you saw it after the end of our radio show yesterday, where Ms. Evers asked us the question, why are you so hard on John Horn? And we made it very clear, if you've been with us since the beginning of the show, if not, rewind, because we're halfway through. But we're hard on John Horn because he's been hard on the Black people of Mississippi and on the Black people of Jackson specifically. So that's what today's show is about. We've been hard on Mayor Horn because the policies, decisions, and collaborations that he has made have been leading to the detriment of Black people since folks like Charles Tisdale were suing the City Council and Downtown Jackson partners since the Business Improvement District model first came into Jackson, once the folks of Mississippi realized that Black people were going to govern Jackson. The moment that happened, Dale Danks started with the Blue Ribbon Committee, and this is a quick catch-up. Dale Danks started with the Blue Ribbon Committee, a group of downtown investors that were looking to see how they could keep a grip on the downtown economics, even as Blacks moved into political leadership. They needed legislation. They couldn't just own businesses. They needed legislation to make sure that they could keep Blacks from owning businesses and control the area. That had to happen because politically Blacks were coming into their own. So now they were going to be able, with a Black mayor, with Black city council being dominated, they would be able to set up tax incentives, breaks, and other things that every community does to make itself whole, especially after it's gone through oppression like that. And downtown Blue Ribbon Committee needed to figure out how to make sure they did not lose grip of their power on the investments in Jackson. And they created Downtown Jackson Partners. And who I'm thinking about, Kane Ditto was the godfather of it all. As mayor, just like Margaret Barrett Simon, as councilwoman, helped make sure Midtown got in the position they're in now. Kane Ditto, as mayor, being even more powerful, helped make sure downtown, God bless you, helped make sure Downtown Jackson Partners became who they are now. And Kane Ditto would not have been able to do it without his godson, John Horn. Yeah, those two are tied together. So that's where we walked you to. Now, we just finished talking about the 1% sales tax. Before we move from that, we talked about how John Horn convinced the Black people of Jackson that a commission over their $160 million that they were going to get over the next 20, 30 years, where it was good to put a Republican-led commission over that the city council would get to vote on it at the end, so Blacks would still have control. The same way he tricked us, and we're going to see it later on down the line. And now, after we go from there, we'll move to the next slide. And you're going to notice that from each slide we look at no point are we talking emotions. We're talking what actually happened. Because when you heard that question posed to us yesterday, why are you so hard on John Horn? Now, even though that question should not be posed from someone that controls your time on air, because that makes you think that you can't be free with what you say. Not talking about someone's family, not talking about someone's bad habits or what holds them down, not talking about someone's love life, but talking about political decisions they make. If you can't be free and open about how you feel about these decisions we're putting up, that is not a historical Black situation, right? And so, and we can go on without the next picture. We can talk about the next part. Let's fast forward from the 1% sales tax. Let's fast forward 30 years because everybody knows this part.
You're talking about he becomes the mayor.
Yeah, he becomes the mayor. Ran 4 times. Downtown Jackson Partners put a lot of money behind them because they were trying to finish off what they started under Kane Ditto 20, 30 years ago. So, yep, he won.
Yeah, and then a part of him winning, he brought on his transition team. I'm pretty sure y'all know a lot of their names by now. If you don't, well, let me remind you who they are. Introducing Gabriel Prado.
And remember, this session is why are you all so hard on John Horn?
Yeah, why
because
so
John
hard?
Horn's hard on the people. Who was his transition team again?
Well, these are
some key ones.
Yeah, some key pointers. Gabriel Prado. I'm pretty sure one to know who that is. Introducing also Surrender Singh. And remember these names because they'll appear again.
And now let's pick them apart. And the young man and I, he's tired of. We've been walking through these names. I mean, Surrender Singh. We've been walking through these names for a while, but take a look at that. So his transition team included Surrender Singh, who was the president of the Indian Store Owners Association. Lots of conflict with them between the city council, whether it was DeKeither, whether it was Melvin, Priest. They were just constant. The under Surrender Singh, the Indian store owners in Jackson refused to stop selling caffeine-based products that were hurting children.
Mm-hmm.
They said if it's legal, they're going to sell it. They refused to secure their stores in any way, shape, or form. When the city council begged them to secure their stores, they said, why would we pay for security when we have security? It's called JPD. The city council, Melvin Priest, they were furious at it. And guess who's the mayor now? And guess who secures a lot of the Indian stores? John Horn's the mayor, and JPD is seen securing a lot of the Indian stores. And there you see it. These are the steps when you asked us. These are Negroes that don't, and not him, he understands it. But you all that question that are either people that are in the boat with him and getting the same benefit, or you're somebody that doesn't understand the difference between a necktie and a noose. Because that necktie there that some of you felt so confident, let's get that in there instead of somebody that wears their shirt open a little at the top. That necktie that made you feel so comfortable is a noose that's strangling Jackson right now. So on his transition team, who was that first name? Gabriel Prado.
Big bro of Daniel Prado.
Big bro of Daniel Prado. So from the Prado family so far in Jackson, we've gotten gentrification with Prado Lofts. No one in Jackson can afford that, or not the old Jackson, right? Prado is trying to bring a power grid. He's trying to bring a data center. His little brother, Danny Prado, with the slides on, he'll be running up on people with slides on. Danny Prado is over Don Gabriel markets that are priced 2 to 3 times higher than the other stores right across the street from it. Gas prices were over $4, while the store across the street was close to $2.99, $3.01. Water is $11.99 and has the nerve to be using Black Excellence water as if there's a contract with the company who told us that there is no contract. Black Excellence as they gentrify. Look at that. Don Gabriel markets sell Black Excellence water as they push through the gentrification process. This is when we call out JSU, Alcorn State, Valley State, Tougaloo. I'm just telling you, this is where the resistance in civil rights movements and in movements that have stopped oppressive methods, redlining, HBCUs have always been involved in civil rights for African American people. Don Gabriel is right now coded. Not one of these college political leaders have said anything. They haven't even talked to their students about it. These folks must be in on it. Maybe Gabriel Prado's found some way to get a check to you. All of the university's political department leaders, political science leaders. None of you all have thought that right now Don Gabriel markets are coded as supermarkets. 1040, which means non-convenience store gas station. It's a specific non-convenience store coding. We told you this for almost a year. Our people tagged you all in there, so politicians can't pretend they don't know. All of your leaders know. They've been tagged over the year. Don Gabriel gas stations are coded as grocery stores, and they're supposed to have produce, fresh deli, meats. Man, listen, they have some fried chicken maybe, and I haven't even seen that necessarily. We've gone through all of them. There are none of these things there. But I bet you Jackson's not a food desert on paper. Not with that many grocery stores. So if every Don Gabriel gas station is a grocery store, there's a lot of Black communities. Pearl. Don Gabriel is not just in Jackson. That's where they ended up at. It's where the Prado family big dig was at, which are the data centers that he's trying to big. He won't tell us where he's going to bring the data center. Now we're going to move off of this. He won't tell us where he's going to bring that data center. And he doesn't have to. And you're going to find out why on that in a minute when we talk about SB 2011. Once more, guess who's going to be involved with that?
2001.
2001, thank you. And guess who voted yes on that? One of the most hurtful data center bills that exists. One of the most hurtful bills in history.
John Horn.
John Horn. Why are you all so hard on John Horn? Because John Horn's hard on the people. Surinder Singh, who's president of the Indian Store Owners Association, is the one who said when the young man Charles Hawthorne was shot in the back of the head, execution style, for supposedly stealing a 6-pack of beer, which even if he did steal, the Indian store owner didn't understand. You don't get to walk up and execute somebody. This is a society. You call the police and you follow the steps. And the punishment in this country, not even on 3 strikes, is you getting to shoot someone in the back of the head. But Surinder Singh said that man put his life against the 6-pack of beer. To us, it's more.
Let me just break it down. I'm going to cut you off. This is a little simple note. The statements that John Horn made when he first became elected, or when he was first running for elections, was y'all should be happy with the crumbs y'all getting, which is what you were saying, right? And we are fickle and
uneducated. That's right.
So for you to say why we so hard on John Horn, why he felt that way about Jackson in the first place, I mean, I don't. That's just for y'all. That's surface level. That's just little stuff. That's just for y'all to eat that up. You know what I'm saying? He literally said y'all was stupid. You uneducated, and now look what he's doing. I mean, he's
backing up.
He's backing up that y'all dumb.
No, well, yes.
No, I'm gonna say
he thinks that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he thinks. He's saying they dumb, and look what I'm doing to them.
Yes, look what I'm able to do. Look what I've been able to do. And then when we stop it, when we push back together, and if you're part of Make It Make Sense, audience, even if you joined yesterday, you're still part of it. But there's been a lot of you all that have been here from day one, right? Shout out to my brother from Walgreens. A lot of people that have been locked in. We got some shirts coming for you all. But you understand that the more we make movement, like the young man said, the more people say, why are you so hard on John Horn? So the Prado has pushed forward, and we know that this is his transition team. Prado got a $1.4 million tax incentive break for Prado Lofts. Supporting John Horn is very good if you're not part of that percentage from Jackson. Man. Robert Island from his housing task team.
Oh, yeah.
That was part of his transition. We'll talk about Robert Island.
Yeah.
But that's part of his transitional teams. Yep. Came on when Blossom Apartments happened, but that's part of his transition team.
What was he over again? I forgot.
He was over that. He was on the housing task team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is just one step. Let's look at the next slide. And you're going to notice this show is going to strictly be about why are you all so hard on Mayor Horn? Because Mayor Horn has been so hard on Black people. He's a plantation Democrat. Hurts us to feel that. Doesn't hurt me to say it. Thank God we got the backbone to say things strong. But it hurts us to feel it every day living in Jackson. So when we go to the next slide, we're going to look at what's the next thing that he did. So he comes in office. Let's just go. He helps the downtown Jackson partners get a firm grip. He comes in and helps the commission take over the 1% sales tax. He brings in a mayor-elect transition team full of William Herring. They're either part of a strong Republican family that overturned abortion, William Herring, or it's Gabriel Prado, or it's Surinder Singh, or it's a bunch of Black faces that just came on and disappeared. Now, after that, you have data centers. Now, right now, there's an aurora about that. Yes, why are we so hard on John Horn? Any chance he gets, he makes it bad for us. So data centers have come in, and you see that everyone is up in auroras all throughout the United States, right? Protect, protect, protect. They started years ago. This didn't just start today. Years ago, people started saying, we don't like the way these centers are doing. We don't like what's going on. We've got to protect our environment. And then you saw SB 2001 get passed right here in Mississippi. And SB 2001, if we have a shot at that, if not, it's fine. But SB 2001 essentially opened the door with laws, regulation, relaxation, if you can say that, removing the Public Service Commission oversight and removing transparency so that organizations and companies trying to build data centers did not have to answer to the people at all.
Like the Public Service Commission.
That's right. The Public Service Commission's hands were tied, and there's nothing that they had to do at all. For the most part, they get breaks on taxes, they get breaks on power and energy. And ultimately, this was something that had to be signed into law by legislators from both the Democratic and the Republican Party. Now,
a lot of those were for Black men and women.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They got hoodwinked, bamboozled at best. They were told quick stories that it's going to bring billions to your city and it's going to create construction jobs.
They were reverse Robin Hood.
Reverse Robin Hood. That's exactly what it is. Shout out to our engineer. Reverse Robin Hood. Rob from the rich and steal from the poor. They rob from the poor and they give to the rich. I mean, that just paused me. That's exactly what they did. And SB 2001 was something that held right in there. But that's what they've been doing. And that's what Mayor Horn. Why are we so hard on Mayor Horn? Because of reasons like this. So the SB 2001, the tax incentives were far too generous. The amount of electricity and water data that it could use, ridiculous. Permanent job creation, no proof of that at all. Local communities had no control once the projects were proposed, and the potential impact on neighborhoods' health wasn't even thought of. And at the same time, John Horn knew the tort reform had just been pushed through. The tort reform capped what data centers would have to pay in case they burn your face off.
Lawsuit,
$500,000. You telling me I can make trillions a year and all I got to pay if I burn somebody's face or kill their child is $500,000. I can make more than that in a day. That's a good deal. I'll take it. And who signed it? John Horn. These are the steps that we're going to. When you ask, why are we so hard? And we look at all of it. To your point, there's a whole list of Democratic senators that signed that. And we posted every single name. Hillman, Frazier, Jay, wasn't just John. But John Horn was right there. So when people ask, why are you so hard on John? Let's stick to John then. Why don't we, young man? And we'll explain to you why. So he supported that legislation. And his right-hand man, Gabriel Prado, as soon as he had a chance, he went ahead and he has a data center he's trying to bring. Robert Island was on John Horn's housing task team. He's representing Sexham now. This man recused himself from helping the people at Blossom Apartments. Man, you all listen, if you like it, I love it. Why are we hard on John Horn? So now, what happened next? So John Horn, along with all of your buddies, signs the SB 2001, and Jackson's going to be the hamster, the guinea pig. So as soon as that happens, John Horn's buddy, and it is his buddy because John brought him on board, Robert Island, shows up to represent a company. He don't want to tell us who and says, I'm speaking on behalf of my company, and they want to put a data center at Forest Avenue near where the old power plant was.
Rex Brown power plant.
Yes, sir.
Mind you, this power plant has already polluted the atmosphere, and they had to drain the lake because it was so toxic.
And what did they decide to back that up with?
A data center.
A data center. Ooh. This is what John Horn has brought in. All of these people came in on John Horn's transition team, housing task team. And for 30 years, John Horn sat in different seats, whether it was the HUD, he was on the chair, whether he sat on the peer review, PEER review team. They oversaw Mississippi Housing Corporation, Sean Spivey. This man has sat in every arena where he should have the skill sets to protect Black people of Jackson. And he has always taken a pass. The former mayor Lumumba, they were on stage and I asked the question. We were at Dooling Hall and the former senator did not deny it. Former Mayor Lumumba said, I went to Senator when we were trying to fight the 17 schools shutdown, the takeover, before we had to concede to 17 schools. And Mayor told me well before we fought, and we won it because they got the Better Together Commission. They ended up saving the school system. Mayor Horn said, man, that ship has sailed. This man has never fought for you, the Black folks of Jackson. He's never, and these are facts. I know you don't like it. That's why I'm talking softly. Maybe some of you won't get so mad if there's no bass in my voice. There's so many white supremacists out there. They can't take a man saying something to them just because it's the truth. You mad because we hard on John. Outside of two museums, you've got nothing from this man. And this is really the emperor has no clothing. You're just too embarrassed to say you were called fickle and uneducated and treated that way. But the first step is denial.
You back that fickle and uneducated.
Yeah, I don't mean the river. So you bring in your people. Now, why are we holding John so accountable? So now we passed bid legislation. We're past the 1% commission he helped take over. Now we're at data centers. He signs the SB 2001 along with Hillman, Frazier, and Sarita and all of them. But then his buddies, their buddies don't come. Here comes his buddies. Gabriel, come on. Robert Island, get your company. Come on. Amazon. They all come in and start setting up data centers in there. The city calls for a moratorium. We don't even go down that line because this is why we holding John Horn accountable. We're not going to get into the city council. They got their own show as to why we hold them accountable. Right? So you look at that happen. Now, let's step that to the side because the data center is so big. Jackson's water system, dilapidated, infrastructure, broken. Previous administration, Lumumba administration, secures a $850 million amount through grants and other ways from the federal government and EPA to be exact, right? To fix our water system, right? Ted Hennepin is appointed as the third-party takeover. Mayor Horn says he and Ted are friends. Ted increases our bill by 12%. Mayor Horn says, I thought we were friends. Why are we so hard on Mayor Horn? Why are we so hard? Let me lower my voice because some people want to hear it softly. Why are we so hard on Mayor Horn? Because Mayor Horn's hard on Black people. So his friend increases 12% while Ted Hennepin calls the Black people of Jackson people that don't like to pay their bills by their culture. It's a culture of not wanting to pay their bills, right? John says nothing. He sits there and he's my friend, so I'll say nothing. I thought he was my friend. They were friends later because John went with him to D.C. to beg for $50 more million for Ted. Nothing for the people. Why are we so hard on John? Because if we're not downtown Jackson partners or one of his friends across the aisle, we don't get anything. We don't get anything at all. So now what happens next? The state tried with the previous mayor to do a water authority takeover, right? I think 1 or 2 times. He wouldn't give it up. Everybody knows that there's not making money off of it. Them charges don't come until you don't give up a resource. That's the way it's happened historically every time. It's a good day not to be in Jackson. We're angry we can't get it. Now the new mayor came in, Charlie's boy. I'm talking about Charles Horn. That's his daddy who raised you. I was raised by Councilman Blue Tual. If I do something you think is unscrupulous, my grandfather was Jefferson Palmer, you reach out to them and say who raised him. So Charles Horn's son. John, once again. Soon as he becomes mayor, he tells us, I will not let anyone take over the water system. It's coming back to Jackson. The moment he became mayor in August, leave that, that's perfect right there. In August, he tries to sell it for a public partner private ship. Puts Jackson out like a $2 whore on the strip and says, shake your booty and see if I can't get half on you. Go look up the article. Jackson Mayor John Horn touts public-private partnership for water. The white power establishment of Mississippi said, Johnny, come here, man. I think you got this wrong. Somebody told you we want some of it. We want all of it. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go back to those Negroes you told us were fickle and uneducated. Why are we so hard on John Horn? And you're going to tell them that they need to do this water authority takeover. Let this water authority come in because it's the best bet. And what did John say? Look right up there.
I was tricked. What did he say?
Horn says proposed water authority could save Jackson millions. This is just like the 1% sales tax. Remember the 1% sales tax? Harvey was bothered with it. What did Horn tell everybody? The city council is going to get to make the final decision. $140 million later, we've only seen $20 million of that go toward, if that, go towards street repairs if it's not Eastover.
Don't forget about that opioid settlement now.
Gone too.
With Lynn Fitch, I think it was like 30 million, and we only got. Now you can rate me.
And we haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen anything. He sat there with her.
Yeah,
smiling in front of the Capitol, hugging and smiling.
So look at this. This is why we are bothered when they say things like, why are you holding him accountable? Why are you going so hard on him? I like the why you're going so hard on him. I'm fine with that. We're going hard on John Horn because he's been hard on these people. So once again, John Horn tells us, you should go ahead and you should do, not only are we going to have the majority of seats, now we lose those seats. Now, look at that. Look, see, why are you so hard on John? But you just told us, go back one page. I'm sorry, I'm asking too much of our engineers. Go to the top. You just told us, John, that the water authority deal is going, what's the date on that by chance? I mean, this man's switching up. How many days okay. February 26th.
2025?
Yeah, this is just this February, 2026. Yeah, so in February of this year, John says, this is the best deal, guys. This water authority could save us millions and shift 200 million in debt. Like Gator, I'd do a dance for you. Now, what date is on the next one? Now, all of a sudden, we can't now. What date is that? This don't make no sense. What happened in 30 days, John? Look at him. Unloosen that tie, sir. 30 days later, we don't expect that the city is going to run its water system ever again. He did the same thing he did with the 1% sales commission. You have lost your mind if you could fix your lips to ask us why are we so hard on John Horn instead of asking that man why he's so hard on the city.
Lord.
These folks have, and one of our commenters said it perfectly. Shout out to you, brother. These folks have lost their mind. I can be beaten. I can't be stupid. I see something coming in. I can be beaten. I can't be stupid. That's it. You can't force me to lose intelligence. And that's what is starting to happen now. You can't force me to lose intelligence. And that's what folks are asking us to do, right? So after this, and again, we're still on line number 7. Why are you all so hard on John Horn? So if Business Improvement District, look at this. John Horn raises concerns over state water authority. Now Horn's raising concerns over state water authority plan for Jackson cites control imbalance. You remember that's when we lost control of the seats. What date is that, my brother? That is March 31st. See how quick it goes downhill? This man just sets us up and then does it again. The city will never run its water authority system again.
Ask Chief Wade why he
jump to that credit card surcharge. We've got time. We're gonna land this plane. Yes, ask Chief Wade right now. You keep going. Have our engineer. We're going to jump to the credit card surcharge legislation. We're going to look at that next. Remember when you go through the city, the brother from Cheese TV, Monticello, a lot of the brothers that do it now, they show themselves going into stores, and you know that the federal law says you can charge a surcharge on credit cards, but not on debit cards.
nigger tax.
And not on that's exactly what it is. That's what it was. It was called a nigger tax here in Mississippi. That's what you got to understand. We're not the ones that you looking for someone different. You shocked by that? You're shocked by the term nigger tax? You should be shocked that a black politician has sold this city out for 30 years.
He making money off the nigger tax.
Now you look at the credit card surcharge legislation. Do we have that one? So there was a legislation where you see all these people saying there was a beauty shop where the black woman were being charged $1.50 surcharge to pay with a card.
Yeah.
And it's okay if we don't get there. So I believe that the bill was HB 1677. It may have been a different number, but it was basically a bill where look at this. They basically asked. No, that's the Halton the Water Authority bill. This was a bill on surcharges, credit card surcharge legislation. I'm trying to remember the number, but basically this was the legislation attempted to say that the stores, the gas stations would no longer be taxed on those surcharges they charged us. So that was the legislation. The legislation was saying that now, if they wanted to charge us this extra money on credit card surcharges that we already have proven they've been doing illegally, that there's no tax on there. That's what I think folks need to understand. And that legislation was called the bill surcharge legislation. And again, what they did, and we'll find the number and we'll post it, but the bill surcharge legislation was, again, them asking the government to say, when they use a credit debit card and they get card charged a surcharge, let that store keep untaxed all of that money they get off those surcharges. And guess who signed that legislation? Why are you so hard on John Horn? Guess who said yes? The House stopped it. It didn't go through. But guess who said yes to that legislation?
The surcharge?
Yes, to allow the surcharge to be tax-free. John Horn.
So why they still making money off of it?
That's who signed it. And it is making a lot of money off it. And so now when you go into a store and you see them trying to keep charging you for those debit charges and those surcharges, they're doing that because they feel that if they can get this legislation moving again with folks like Horn and Hillman Frazier signing it, then they will get all of that extra debit and surcharge money tax-free. The next move Horn did to speed it up to the end, he canceled the skate park. We've seen this horrible violence taking the lives of a baby here. We've seen the violence that's ripped through this city, and the people have been screaming for something for these children to do. The first thing Horn did when he came in was cancel the skate park. And it wasn't just a skate park. It had a place for people to perform, young people to rap and perform. It had a place for food trucks to come up to. It had a place for arts to be done. It had a place for young people just to get out to. The first thing he did was cancel that. But yet you saw your mayor on the news today talking about the city preparing for July 4th. And now that we may have visitors coming from Madison or Ridgeland or from the nice parts of Jackson, he had every law enforcement agency you can think of standing behind him earlier today. Chief Brackney, Capitol, state troopers, FBI, dog sniffing cops. He had all of them standing behind him. And this man had the nerve, and we're going to land this. This man had, yeah, right there. There was that was one of the areas that they pushed with him when they were trying to make sure, and this is what they were trying to do. This is letting you know it's not legal to charge on debit cards. But what they were trying to do in legislation was to say everything they charge off of these, they got to keep state free. So what the young man was pointing out to was that they're still raping us in these areas and charging us and making a lot of money off of that. Right now, they pay taxes on that, though. So they get free money, but they pay some of that tax on that free money.
Who paid free tax?
Those Indian store owners that we witnessed on those videos, charging an extra surcharge on property, they got to do that, and they were robbing us, but they still had to pay taxes on that and claim it. So let's say, remember how we looked it up and we saw them making $150,000 off of those surcharges alone?
Yeah. They
had to pay taxes on that $150,000. This is how arrogant they are.
So they write it off on their tax.
No, they had to pay taxes.
They just pay tax. So but I'm saying they making money off of simple terms. They making
because it's free money. But hold on, no. But it gets you're looking at what's the next level. There is a next step. So they were making, let's say, $150,000. Like you get our paycheck, right? We got to give the government 20%, right? So they would make $150,000 in those surcharges. They would give the government, let's say, they're $30,000, right? Then they was like, hold on, we want legislation that says we don't got to give the government none of this tax money. As Indian store owners, we want to keep all of the money we rob from the black people to ourselves.
Yeah.
And John Horn signed that and said, okay, that sounds good. Only reason it didn't go through because it went to Daddy. When it went to the state of Mississippi, they said, oh no, Indian store owner or not.
So he just signed it, or he been signed it?
He been signed it. Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't go through. It didn't make it all the way through the House. Yeah. But these are the type of steps. So now, and we'll close on this, because all of these things, is there anything that I missed out? A big one on there? I believe that would cover a lot of the things that he's done so far. There's been a lot of small things he's done in the meantime. Taking pictures with nothing but downtown Jackson partners or brand new white dealerships, bringing in Nick Lott, a strong Republican, to be his communications manager. So you've got to look at conflict of interest at a certain point. This man's worked for Bush, worked for Barber. He's worked to craft every bit of legislation that's hurt in a large way black districts and black voting in the state. And that's the person that you put firmly, and he's still head of the Black Republican Party, the Young Republicans, or he's still involved. That's who you put over the communications of a black city that's Democratic? You got to make that make sense. Begging companies to hire our children at 14 and 15 after you've canceled every outlet for them, and then showing up on the news today and saying that on the 4th of July, do you listen what this clown said? He said on the 4th of July, we need parents to talk to your children. This man takes names like Jackson Rising from previous black organization and he uses them again. He thinks it's funny to take things that were meant for black unity and to use them, and he knows he cares nothing about that. He got on the news today and then had the nerve to open his mouth and shout out to those violence interrupters. We've been telling you for 6-7 months he wants nothing to do with. Strong Arms of Mississippi, right? Operation Good, who stopped violence for a countless amount of days, no shootings. We reached out to them. And when Horn came in, he said, both Strong Arms of Mississippi they told me our secretary would be contacted. Now John Horn on the 4th of July has the nerve to actually beg for OGs. This shuffling Negro said the word OGs, standing there with nothing but cops behind him. And really, he was a slave catcher. He was letting them know, hey, listen, I'm here to tell you, you better get your pickaninnies inside, because look what I got behind me. And then Chief Brackney stood up and started strong as the old Chief Brackney way, and then made it clear they were just threatening everyone. These good folks are going to have a good time on the 4th of July. These good white people. This is Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, and I know how to eloquently back up everything I say. Not a lick of racism in my body. What John was saying with Chief Brackney, with the rest of them, we're going to make sure that these good white people that frequent this city on the 4th of July are safe. And the reason I know that is because everything John said, he said we need parents to be there. We need parents to be involved. He said we need street workers. We need violence interrupters. He used the right words, so we know he knows the right words. He used the word violence interrupter. So for a year you've been in office, you trifling Negro. For a year, Wanda, does that answer your question? Why we're so hard on him? Because for a year he's been in office knowing violence interrupters are out there and he's done nothing to engage them. While the city's just shooting violence everywhere. But as soon as the 4th of July comes, oh, no. Won't be none of that Negro action, none of that violence, no.
Don't forget, he stood with Andy Gibson that hosted the Dixie Parade.
With his hat on, cocked to the side. There'll be no Negro business. Don't know. This is what why are we bothered with John? Why are we so hard on John Horn? Because this man exemplifies white supremacy and blackface, Miss Evers. That's why. And when today's birthday represents Meg Evers, and at the same day as the birthday of Patrice Lumumba, this ain't the day to ask why we're being so hard on John Horn. Because he's not the same. He's nowhere near the same. As a matter of fact, he's a disgusting, disgraceful example of a man. And that sister had the nerve. Well, I'm sorry. Let me not say that to offend you. You're not my sister. Folks had the nerve to say or to bring that up, that he's a black man. I can't tell. How would I tell John Horn is a black man if we're looking at policy decisions that he's making, friendships that he's doing? Black men here to tell us they can't reach John Horn, and they were friends and voted for him. What would make me think John Horn is a black man if I wasn't looking at a black man? Yesterday's price is not today's price. That's what we're closing this show with. That's what we hope everyone that confronts the ideology that we present faces and learns the hard way or the easy way. Yesterday was a harder lesson outside of 90.1, and not for us. That lesson doesn't have to be that way every time. We're trying to work with our city, but we have no desire to work with people that don't have love for the masses. We'd rather you look at us just how you look at us. That's a flattery. To be hated by the devil is to be loved by God. So we're happy where we stand. So we hope that today's show answered the question, why are you all so hard on John Horn? Because John Horn has been and continues to be so hard on my people. We're going to end it with that. We'll be right back, same time, same place tomorrow. We Believe Digital. For my esteemed co-hosts,
Keanu Perry,
and myself, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, we appreciate you, Jackson. We love you and continue to stand up. We're out.